What is up, Nerf Nation? I'm Naptown Nerf, and this is an unboxing and review of the Nerf rival HADES. Alright, we don't really need to talk about this box, so let's go straight into the unboxing. Alright, you guys, so you get your HADES, you get 60 rival rounds or high impact rounds, you get some instructions, and you get your red and blue flag. Okay, you guys, this is the HADES, and I went ahead and loaded up all the balls except for one, so I could show you how to do that. But you just pull this back, it locks into place there, and then you want to put 20 rounds into each chamber. Then we can pull that forward, and there you go. Now you're ready to go. Now, you may be asking, this blaster looks kind of familiar. Well, yes, this is basically an Artemis, just extended, which honestly is really cool, and I think is a little more efficient and a little bit better design than the original Artemis, as my main issue with the original Artemis is you couldn't shoulder it to kind of aim and control your shots. So we've done some things to help that out in the Nerf community by adding a stock attachment point and things like that, so you could add stocks to it. And the Artemis is probably my favorite rival Springer primary, so this one is going to probably be a favorite of mine also. Very nice, very comfortable grip. The front priming grip is much more comfortable than the original Artemis, but it's still pretty blocky and still definitely not my favorite. Then the stock here is somewhat uncomfortable to me. It's a little bit awkward. Maybe I'll get used to it. It wants to slip off because I kind of want to shoulder it a little lower than where the stock actually is, but I think I'm gonna have to take it out and play around with it a bit and see how that feels. I think maybe when I get used to that it'll be okay, but it's not quite in the perfect position for my taste as of now. So we'll go over some of the features of the blaster. Obviously you have your rival rail on top there, so you could put that pinpoint sight up there if you so choose, or even Nerf attachments will fit with some effort on top of those. And then you have a trigger lock down here that when you push that down, that makes it so you're unable to pull the trigger. You pull that back up, then you're able to pull the trigger. Obviously this is pump action, so you'll prime it by pumping back and then pushing forward, and that loads a ball so it's ready to fire. And why not? Let's go ahead and fire it off. Right back to me. Haha. We'll go ahead and just load that right back up. Which one is ready? I think it's this one on the right. So we'll put one back in there, pull that forward, and now we're ready to go again. This does have a depriming button, so when you have a jam, you can push this up, and then that will allow you to deprime your blaster. So that's pretty effective, and since there is no jam door on this, that's probably something that's necessary. This blaster does have slam fire if you're asking, so you could just pull the trigger and pump and fire just like the Artemis. So that's a really nice feature. There is a sling point on the back here. There is a sling point on the front as well. So you could run a 2-point sling if you so choose, and this is a very large blaster, especially for a younger Nerfer, so they may want to do that. Now this is recommended for ages 14 and up, like all the rival line is, but that doesn't usually stop younger Nerfers from using them. So I think this is pretty easy to prime, so it's going to be easier for somebody younger to use than other blasters in this line. So I think this is a pretty sweet looking blaster. I can't wait to take it outside, put it over the chronograph in the range, see if it's getting that 100 FPS that it says it does. So let's go on outside and fire this thing off. All right, you guys, we're gonna put some shots over the chronograph. Man, this blaster looks sweet. I really do love the Phantom Core line. I just love the black and white. I just think it's a really cool paint scheme, and it allows Nerf not to have to do too much painting on both sides and still make it look even. As you can see, they have the logo there on both sides, so that's cool. So we'll go ahead and fire some shots over the chronograph. I did want to make a note, something I missed a second ago, but it does have a little priming indicator right here. It's a little easier to see. Well, it may be hard to see from both sides, but there's like an orange thing that's inside there a little ways back that kind of shows you that you are primed. So we'll go ahead and fire some off. 92, 90,
67 or 76, sorry. A little low. 90. 95. 88. 95. Duplicate 95. 95. 96. So pretty good performance. A few low ones, but that was probably more of a fluke than anything, but definitely right around that 95, 96 FPS there for the last few, and I think that's about where this thing's at. We will check out the ranges, although the ground is very dry and hard and those balls kind of bounced and rolled a little bit, but it does seem like very standard rival ranges. But I'll go ahead and take a look since we put the tape measure out. A lot of them were landing in this range around that 50-foot mark to maybe around that 60-foot mark. As you can see, a few of them are here, but some of them did roll up here a little ways, even getting upwards around 77 feet there with a roll. But yeah, I would say between like 50 and 60 feet is about where it was at. All right, let's fire some off slam fire. Man, you could go for days with that thing. That's pretty sweet.
All right, you guys, so I think we knew what to expect with the Hades, as it's basically just a larger Artemis and performs and functions just the same. I am very happy with this. I think it was very smart of Hasbro to take the functionality of the Artemis and just make it longer and give you a stock with it. I think that was pretty much a no-brainer. Even somebody in the Nerf community actually modded an Artemis, put two of them together to make basically this exact same blaster. But I don't think the Artemis is dead. I think there is still a place for the Artemis. Unlike the Chaos, which kind of got pretty much eliminated when the Nemesis came out, I still think there is a place for the Artemis. I think it's smaller and lighter and easy to move around with. So some people really like that play style, and 30 rounds is quite a bit, so that's nothing small or anything like that. So I think if you're good with that and you like topping off your blaster, I think that blaster is just fine, and maybe you prefer that over something larger like this. As for this though, I think it's really, really sweet. I love it in the Phantom Core line. I think that's awesome. But I did go ahead and throw on my armbands, my rival flags, and this is another way you can wear your armbands. I don't really think anybody has shown that off actually, but this is another way, and I didn't realize it at first either. But you don't always have to sling them on your blaster. If you don't want to put them on your sling points, you can put them on your arm, so that's pretty cool. As for the Hades, I think it's an awesome blaster. The stock is still not quite my favorite. It's not bad, but it's still a little weird. It's gonna take some getting used to, and I could see some people not liking it where it's positioned on the blaster, but the way this is designed, I think that's what they kind of had to do. I guess they could have made it a little longer and come down here into this thumb hole stock portion of the blaster, but you know, it's something I think that some people might not like, so I wanted to point that out. But overall, I think this is a great blaster. The grip is just one of the most comfortable rival grips, and I really like most of them, but this is like perfectly shaped and just really, really nice size. It's not too big or too small, so that's really, really good. The front grip is definitely usable. I don't think it's nearly as bad as the Artemis, but it isn't my favorite, and this may be something I change out to more of an AFG or more of a shotgun kind of pump grip or something like that. But this blaster will run you $70. That's what it's retailing for, so that is a pretty high price. So you're gonna have to really love this blaster and love this design. And if you love the Artemis, then you probably will like this a lot. And if you want something with higher capacity and you like the Artemis, this is definitely the blaster to get. But if you're not a big Springer person, or $70, you would rather spend less, more like 40 or so on an Artemis, and not get a larger blaster with more capacity, then I definitely think go that route. So I don't know if this is for everybody, especially at that $70 price point, but I definitely think it's a sweet blaster. I really like it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Definitely think about subscribing if you're not subscribed. Definitely smash that like button, as it really helps out the channel a ton. Think about supporting my Patreon if you have not done that, or at least follow it. All the links to my Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter and Patreon are in the description box below. Thanks for watching, and peace out.